guys, this is Comic and today I'm doing a review for Civil War II, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 1. Before I start talking about this issue, just want to give you guys a couple updates. Of course, I have Comic episode 149, and that's show I review all the comics I read this week in one show. And if you want to check out the exclusive comics in the description below, there are those titles. I was going to say the links, but the title's there. And the link for this episode is annotated. But let's start talking about The Amazing Spider-Man issue 1, Civil War II. So this is a mini-series. I think it's about like 3 or 4 issues. And it's one of the first mini-series coming out for Civil War II. There's been a lot of Road to Civil War II issues, but this is actually a mini-series. This week also Gods of War came out. I didn't pick up that because I'm not a huge Hercules fan, but I did pick up Spider-Man. Probably will pick up X-Men next week. So let's start talking about it. Cover. Really like the cover art, but I will say the facepalm was my reaction after I read this issue, which I'll get into. But I do like the art style, and I kind of wish the cover art was the interior art, because that was a big thing I didn't like about this issue. I feel like everything looked really small, and the inking was very heavy, so you really couldn't get to see facial expressions very well. I think a good example of the heavy inking was in... Let me get to the scene. Was this scene? There's so much inking that you really couldn't get to see the faces that well. So, yeah, I just didn't really like the art style. And again, the inking on the face, I think, kind of ruined it. And again, everything looked really small and lanky, everyone looks. So, that was definitely a big negative for me, was the artwork. But I did like the colors. I thought that was pretty bright, and I think that worked. But let's start talking about the issue, the story. So with this issue, I honestly, when I came into this, I thought it was going to be about Iron Man, because that's been a big story with Spider-Man recently, with MJ being in the Iron Man story and working for Iron Man, and because Iron Man is the main protagonist of Civil War II. But instead, this deals with Inhumans and Ulysses, who is that new Inhuman who is the catalyst of Civil War II, where he gets these visions, and Iron Man's like, no, we can't listen to these villains, and Carol's like, yes, we should, and that is how this argument starts with Civil War II. So now Peter is just kind of showing around Ulysses, this is Parker Industries, and takes most of the issue to do so. But by the end, Ulysses sees a vision of Clash. Clayton, if you remember in the Crawl 1.1 Amazing Spider-Man series, he was a main character there. He was one of Spider-Man's first villains, but now he's good and he works for Parker Industries. And uses the science there. And now Ulysses sees the future of Clash being a villain again, and Spider-Man's like, oh no, what do I do? So what did I think of the issue? What did I think of the story? I thought it was kind of boring, honestly. I think I would have gotten more out of this if it was about Iron Man or Carol. I don't really care about the Inhuman story right now that much, so that might be a reason. But I feel like a lot of this issue, if you've read Amazing Spider-Man for, like I have, read almost every Spider-Man title that's out, or reading almost every Spider-Man title, it's a bit boring to learn about Parker Industries again, because you already know what's going on in Parker Industries, and it's more of this, tour that we all know about. It doesn't really give you any in on a character. Besides me, Harry, they're like, oh, he was Green Goblin. And then Peter at first says, oh, Harry's gonna turn evil? It's like, no, not Harry. Clash. Clayton. So I guess that was kind of a cool moment with Harry. But other than that, I thought this was a really slow issue, and I'm probably not going to pick up issue 2. I don't know if this is a must-read for a Spider-Man story. It seems very forgettable to me, and more of a filler story than anything. But if you like the Inhumans, then I would say give this a try, because it is very Inhuman heavy. But if you're looking for just a Spider-Man tie-in book, I don't know if this is totally necessary to read. So I'm going to give Amazing Spider-Man issue 1, Civil War II, 2.5 stars. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later.